So here's the one. You take a look at this. This shows what basically China is doing as far as imports. Last year, thermal coal, 58 million tons. The year, if you take a look at what they did the year before, 15 million tons. So in 1 year, they basically added 40 million tons of imports. And those imports have to come from somewhere. But again, it's not just easy to say, well, we'll just go buy 40 million tons somewhere. What happens, and there's some really strange things going on, for the first time in history, Colombia is sort of on the Caribbean side of South America. Their traditional market has always been into Europe and North America. Those markets are a little soft right now, and what they're doing is they're actually shipping coal in smaller vessels through the Panama Canal, and they're taking it 16,000 kilometers to China to sell coal into China to try and fill sort of some of this gap. And for them to be able to do it, I'll just tell you, it costs them $40 a ton to do that, to ship 16,000 kilometers to China. Our coal shipment costs out of Rupert, West Shore, are around $11.50. But they're still able to do that and still ship into China and make a profit. And China's gobbling up everything that's available. So those are the dynamics that are out there. This is kind of the other thing that makes it attractive for us. We compare, I told you, against Newcastle. Newcastle's New South Wales. Into Japan, about 8,000 kilometers out of Newcastle. Out of Ridley, we're talking about 7,300 kilometers into South Korea and 6,300 into Japan. We actually have an advantage distance-wise over Newcastle, but what we don't have an advantage over is the fact that they ship so many more millions of tons than we do, so they get a more competitive price. But our price and their price is almost the same, because they ship more volume, but they ship longer distances. So we feel we can't compete against Australia on this call. And, geez, I was on a roll there. That's our presentation. You know, Dennis and I have been working, as I mentioned, in coal, and we do really believe that in order to make these projects successful, you have to get involved in the local communities. Even though we really, corporately, we're not ready to open up our office, we felt that we had to get out here and just open up our office and kind of at least start to tell our story a little bit and start getting you folks involved. And we plan to be out here pretty regular. One of the things that you're going to see, we've already started planning, is that in a couple of months when the weather warms up, a lot of our investors are from Australia, so they don't do well in cold weather. So when the weather warms up, we plan to bring a big contingent of potential investors from Australia and Canada and possibly even the States through town, and we want them to see for themselves about about the opportunity here, about the business climate.
Good afternoon. Thanks for coming and bringing this presentation. My name's Brian Carnell. I've lived in Hinton for about 15 years and have driven to most of the mines around here. Been to Quo Valley and CRC and seen the altered landscapes around those. And from the look of your map, it would appear that you're going to have pits within a kilometer of calcite.
Well, I can tell you what it is. It's 2.5 kilometers.
It's one thing to have a pit mine at CRC. How are we going to cope with having an altered landscape like that pretty much downtown Hinton? Can we expect, or do you have some mitigations to deal with the noise and the dust and the water quality issues? Because like Hinton has traditionally been plagued with boom and bust economies, and we're trying to diversify our economy through other means and other avenues besides resource development. And my personal concern is, will your open pit mine that close detract from other opportunities that we may have, and what kind of mitigations are you proposing for those the obvious environmental impacts that are going to be caused by a strip mine?
Brian, all I can tell you is that the situation with our mine is that we're going to have to go through a pretty strict regulatory process, not only on the technical side of things, but also on the environmental side of things. And you know, I appreciate the fact that we're able to kind of tell you a 40,000-foot elevation story about what we're planning to do. But as part of that permitting process, there's an involvement for the town in that process. Everything that we plan to do will be very transparent. And the one thing that I encourage you to do is, and again, it's a little tough, but if you're driving to Edmonton and you pass through the Whitewood mine, the Whitewood mine has a very similar mining approach that we will have here, where it's one where you don't end up with a big end pit in the process. What you do is you basically, as you mine along, because it's gently dipping, as you mine along, you reclaim behind yourself. So what happens is that there will be an ongoing reclamation program with that. Do we have that fully developed right now? I can't tell you we do, but the thing is, the reason why I went out and hired Dermot Lane is Dermot, that's what he's been doing for 30 years with Ford. Okay? And we plan to have a fully transparent process here as we go along, and the town is going to be able to see what we're going to be proposing to permit and develop. So this is really only the start of things here. You know, and I can't kind of give you any more details than that, because we're just kicking that off.
Thank you.
Question? You've done a lot in your presentation here. You're obviously looking for investors. You say you have $7 million in your account now. To build a new mine, you're talking at least $500 million. I built 2 of my own company, supplying guys and so on. How real is that? Because obviously you're looking for investors and who you can sell to. That's going to come first, or you're going to build the mine first and then...
I'll tell you, and I'll just tell you our model going back. When we started up Grand Cache, I can tell you, I worked out of a little strip mall in an old dentist office that had sinks in it and there. We didn't have any money whatsoever. Well, we listed the company on Toronto, we raised the money. What we did at South Gobi,